This is your chapter 3 review. So number 1 says the equation 3x plus 7y is equal to 105 represents the number of bags of sand x and bags of mulch y that can be bought with $105. If no bags of sand are bought, how many bags of mulch can be bought with $105? Okay, so right here it tells you the number of bags of sand is x. If you do not buy any bags of sand, okay, then x means that it has to be 0. Then it tells us you have your bags of mulch, and that's going to be y. It says how many bags of mulch, so we got to figure out what is y equal to whenever you spend a total of $105. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to plug this into the problem. So we have 3 times x. Remember, we didn't buy any sand, so that's 0. Plus 7, we don't know what y is, that's what we're trying to solve for, is equal to 105. Okay, anything times 0 is always 0, so that's pretty much gone. We have 7y is equal to 105. All you have to do is divide both sides by 7, and we're going to get y is equal to, and then you can go ahead and pull up your calculator. So remember, make sure if I have my calculator pulled up, you should have yours pulled up. So you have 105 divided by 7, and we get 15. So here we know that we can get 15 bags of mulch. All right. Number 2 says, what is the 0 of the function f of x equals -8? Couple things. Remember 0, if you remember your rocks, ROXS. Okay, roots, zeros, x-intercept, solutions, they all mean the same thing. So when it says what is the 0, they're asking what is our x-intercept, where is it across the x-axis. Of the function f of x, remember f of x is the same thing as y equals -8. So there's 2 ways we can do this. We can go ahead and graph it. Y equals -8, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that's just going to be a straight line right across here. Okay, so here's my x and y axis. And what we can do is we can put this in our calculator and we can double check that we did this right. So go to your calculator, go to y equals, type in -8, hit your graph, and notice that looks just like what we plotted. Okay, and so we're looking for the 0. So if you look here at your x-axis, you will notice this blue line never crosses the x-axis. Okay, we can also look at our table and look for the 0 in our y column. And if you notice, you can go all the way up and down your y and look in your y's, and you will see you will never have a 0. It's always going to be -8. So our answer here for this one is going to be no 0. All right, number 3, what is the slope of the line through 1, 9 and -3, 16? So I'm going to label this x1, y1, x2, y2. So we're going to find our slope. That's change in y over change in x. So that's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, we're going to go ahead and plug in our numbers. Y2 is 16, minus y1 is 9, x2 is -3, minus x1 is 1. All right, 16 minus 9 is 7. -3 minus 1 is a -4. You can type this in your calculator, 7 divided by -4. So we'll go back to my home screen. 7 divided by -4. And you can hit math, enter. And it will show you it doesn't reduce. It's just -7 over 4. Okay. Now we're going to check our answer. So we did this by hand. We're going to check our answer by using our set edit. So I'm going to make my table. Okay, here's your x and y's. Remember, this is L1, this is L2. So I have the point 19, and I have the point negative 316. All right, so we're going to go into our stat edit, and we're going to see what our slope comes out to be. So I'm going to go back to my calculator. I'm going to go to stat, edit, and my L1, we had 1 and negative 3. So you should be looking at your paper, what we wrote down on our table. L2 were the y values. We had 9 and 16. Okay, we're going to go back to stat. We're going to go over to calc. We're going to hit the number 4 and hit enter all the way through till you get to calculate. Okay, they give you a decimal. When we do slopes, you're going to want your slope to be in a fraction. So we're just going to type this in. So negative 1.75. We're going to hit math, enter, enter. And it comes out to the slope that we got by hand, which is negative 7/4. So what we know is that our answer is correct. So any question that asks for what is your slope, you should not get wrong on your test because you can put it in stat edit and check every single one of them. All right, number 4 says which equation is not a linear equation. So remember, for these problems, we were putting them in the ax plus by is equal to c, our standard form. But you can quickly look at your choices and notice right here, this x and y is together. You can never have x and y together. That is not a linear equation. There's no way you can write that in standard form. So J would be your answer. Okay, number 5, another slope question. What is the slope of the line that passes through these points? Negative 4, 3, and 5, 3. So again, I'm going to label this x1, y1, x2, y2. So we have slope is equal to change in y over change in x, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Plug in my numbers that I have labeled. So we have 3 minus 3 over 5 minus a negative 4. Okay, again, a minus and a negative become a positive. 3 minus 3 is 0. 5 plus 4 is 9. And if you're not sure, you can type this in. 0 divided by 9. So 0 divided by 9. And that gives us 0. Okay, again, this is a slope question. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to check our answer. So I'm going to put it in my table, L1, L2. Okay, so this is your x and these are your y's. So we have the point negative 4, 3. And we have the point 5, 3. Since we just used stat edit, I'm going to go ahead and clear out my calculator so it's all nice and neat. So second plus 712. Okay, go back to my stat edit. So in my L1, those are my x values. We had negative 4 and we had a positive 5. In my L2, we had 3 and 3. So I'm going to go stat, over to calc, hit the number 4, enter all the way through. And you'll notice right here, A is your slope. Okay, instead of using M, they just like to use A. A is your slope. It is 0. That is what I got right here. So I'm going to put a check mark so I know my answer is correct. All right, moving right along, number 6. It says in 2005, there were 12,000 students at Beacon High. In 2010, there were 12,250. What is the rate of change in the number of students? So we have 2 points. Okay, so I'm going to write this out. We have 2005, 12,000, and we have 2010, 12,250. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to label this as my x1, y1, x2, y2, and we're going to do like what we did on these other ones with slope. We're going to find the slope by hand, check it with StatEdit. So my slope is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So my y2 is 12,250 minus my y1 is 12,000 over x2 is 2010 minus x1 is 2005. Okay, so if you need to, you can put this in the calculator. 12,250 minus 12,000, which really the only difference in there is just 250. And then the difference between 2010 and 2005, that's just 5 years. So when you divide these, 250 divided by 5 just gives you 50. Okay, but again, we're going to check our math with StatEdit. So we're going to put this in our L1 and L2. Make sure you have your table on your test and on your review. Okay, because this is showing your work. So my first point is 2005 and 12,000. Second point is 2010 and 12,250. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in StatEdit. So StatEdit, and I have numbers, so let me go ahead and clear that out. Second plus 712. Alright, now let me go back to StatEdit. So in L1, we have 2005 and 2010. In L2, we have 12,000 and we have 12,250. Okay, so I hit Stat, go over to Calc, go to number 4, and then we're going to hit Enter through all this stuff to get to calculate. And right there, my slope is 50. If you look at what we did by hand, okay, we got the slope was to be 50, so we are correct. All right. Number 7 says which is the graph of y equals 2/3 x. So first of all, if you notice, your slope here is positive. So if you write your name on the line, if it's going down, that's negative. So A is going to be completely wrong. B goes up, C goes down, so C is completely wrong, and D goes up. Okay, so you have 2/3. Remember when we do graphs, this is in your little slope foldable that we did. When you have 2/3, that's your rise over run. And this was in your homework too, so hopefully you did it because now you know how to do these problems. Okay, I can just start right here at the origin. I got to go up 2, so 1, 2, and I got to go over 1, 2, 3. Start here at the origin, I got to go up 1, 2, and I got to go over 1, 2, 3. Okay, so if you notice, this point is not on the line, so B is wrong. This point is on the line, so D is your answer. All right. So you can go ahead and you can flip it to the back side to the next page. Number 8, if y varies directly. So when you see this, you should automatically know we're talking about direct variation as x. And y is 3 when x is 10. Find x when y equals 8. So we're just going to do a proportion y over x. So when y is 3, x is 10. What is x when y is 8? So be careful with this, okay, because x is on the denominator, y is in the numerator. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to cross multiply. So when we do that, we have 3 times x is equal to 10 times 8. So we have 3x is equal to 80. That's an 8. We're going to divide both sides by 3. So we have x equals, okay, we can use the calculator for this. So in my calculator, I'm going to go ahead and clear that out. Type in 80 divided by 3. And we get 26.66667. If I hit math, enter, enter, that gives me 80/3. So we can go ahead and we can write down both those answers. Just in case if your multiple choice is the decimal, you'll pick the 26.66667, okay? Or if it's a fraction, it will just be 80 over 3. All right. Number 9, a driver's distance varies directly. So again, anytime you see varies directly, we're talking about direct variation as the amount of time traveled. After 6 hours, a driver had traveled 390 miles. How far had the driver traveled after 4 hours? So what we can do is we can put hours in the numerator and we can put miles in the denominator. Okay, so after 6 hours, so that goes on top. He traveled 390 miles. That's going to go on bottom. How far, so those are your miles, I'm going to put X on the bottom, did he travel after 4 hours? So that goes on the top. So once you have your proportion set up, just going to go ahead and cross multiply. So we have 6 times X is equal to 390 times 4. So we have 6x is equal to, okay, we have 390 times 4. So you can go ahead and put that in your calculator. Oops. So 390 times 4. So we have 1560. So 1,560. And then we're going to divide both sides by 6. So we have x is equal to 1560 divided by 6. So divide that by 6 gives us 260. So x equals 260, and now remember we're talking about miles. So 260 miles is how far he would travel in 4 hours. All right, number 10 and 11, we're going to use this table. The number of seats in each row of a theater forms a arithmetic sequence as shown in the table. Number 10 says how many seats are in the 12th row, and number 11 is asking what formula can be used to find the number of seats in any given row. So these are really nice because all we have to do is put this into L1, and we're going to put these numbers into L2. So L1 are these row numbers, L2 are your number of seats. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my calculator. Let me just go ahead and clear all this out. So second plus 712. All right, let me go to my stat edit. Okay, so looking at your paper, L1 are your rows. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. L2 are your number of seats. So we have 8, we have 14, we have 20, and we have 26. All right, so we're going to go stat, over to calc. We're going to hit the number 4, and then we're going to hit enter, enter, enter. And then where you see that our answer is going to be y equals 6x plus 2. So I'm going to write that down beside the table. Y equals 6x plus 2. Now remember, okay, since we're talking about these sequences, we don't use y and x. Okay, we want it to look like these down here. So what we're going to write is a sub n is equal to 6n plus 2. So really it'd be easier if we answer number 11 right now. Which one of these matches up to what we got? Well, if you look at your answer choices, a sub n equals 6n plus 2, that is A. B, try to flip-flop the 6 and the 2, that's why that's wrong. C didn't even have a 2 in it, and they put the 6 in the back, so that's wrong. D, I have no idea where they got that from because our numbers were 6 and 2. All right. And now we can answer number 10. It says how many seats are in the 12th row? Okay, so that means if I had a 12 right here, how many seats would I have? So what we're going to do is we have a sub 12 is equal to 6. Okay, we're looking at 12 plus 2. So we have a sub 12 is equal to 6 times 12 is 72 plus 2. So a sub 12 is equal to 72 plus 2 is 74. Now, you can even check this part in the calculator to make sure you're right. What we'll do is we can go to y equals, type in this equation, and let's look at our table. So we have y equals 6x plus 2. So go back to your calculator, go to y equals, type in 6x plus 2, go to your table, so second graph, and if I go all the way down here to the bottom, so these are my row numbers, I'm going to look for row number 12. In row number 12, we have 74 seats. If you look at what we just put, we have 74 seats. So again, you shouldn't miss this one on test because you can do all this stuff in your calculator and check your answer. All right, number 12. Find the function that represents the relationship. Again, very easy problem. There's no math involved because all you have to do is put this in stat edit. L1 are your x's, L2 are your y's. So let's go back to our calculator. I'm going to go ahead and clear everything out. Second plus 7, 1, 2. Okay, go to stat edit. Look at the table. So we are on number 12. Look at your table. My x values are 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. My y values are -3, a +3, a +9, and we have 15 and 21. Okay, so all I did is copy the table off my paper into my set edit. That is it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go stat, over to calc, hit number 4, enter all the way through to calculate, and there's my equation. Y equals, okay, instead of a, I know a is 6, x, instead of my plus b, b is a -3, so -3. So y equals 6x minus 3. So I'm going to write that down right here. Y equals 6x minus 3. And we can just look right now and see that our answer is going to be H. So none of these match up. Also, another thing you could do, if you completely forget about stat edit, you can put these into y equals, look at your table, and see if your table matches. Okay, so there's multiple ways you could do this. If you're not a big fan of stat edit, go to your y equals, type these in, look at your graph, and see if your numbers match up with 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. If they don't, then it's not the right answer. All right, same thing for 13 and 14. So 13 and 14, we're going to use this table. The first one says write an equation that describes this relationship. So again, L1 and L2. We're going to put these in stat edit, stat calc 4, there's your answer. So I'm going to go ahead and clear this out. Second plus 7, 1, 2. Okay, I'm going to go to stat edit. And again, we're literally copying the table. So your x values are 1 all the way to 5. So 2, 3, 4, and 5. L2, we have 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11. Okay, so I'm going to go stat, over to calc, number 4, hit your enter through all this stuff. And there's your equation, y equals 2x plus 1. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back to my review. And I'm going to write down the equation, y equals 2x plus 1. No reason why you should miss that. Okay, we're not doing anything by hand. We're not finding slope by hand. We're not finding the y-intercept by hand. All you have to do is calculator skills. That's it. Number 14 says, what is the value of y when x equals 43? There's two ways you can do this. One, if you want to put this in y equals and look at your table and go all the way down till x is 43 and see what y is, you can. Quicker way, y equals 2 times x is 43 plus 1. Y equals 2 times 43 plus 1 is just 87. A lot faster than having to go to your table and going all the way down to 43. Okay, so not too bad. Like I said, a lot of this stuff is just going to be calculator skills. Okay, let's go to the last page. Okay, number 15 and number 16 are similar problems. That's where we're going to have to solve for R. So let's go ahead and start with number 15. Find r. We have 2 points, so x1, y1, x2, y2, and I have my slope. So I know that my slope is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and fill this in. So my slope is 2, so that's 2 is equal to y2 minus y1, so 9 minus 3 over x2 minus x1, so 5 minus r. Now, we want to set this up as a proportion, so don't forget to put your 2 over 1. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and reduce this. 2 over 1 is equal to 9 minus 3 is 6 over 5 minus r. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to cross multiply. So what we have, do not forget, whenever you have the 5 minus r part right here, you got to put that in parentheses, is equal to 1 times 6. Distribute your 2. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times negative r, that's negative 2r. 1 times 6 is 6. And now we're just going to solve for r. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 10 from both sides. So that's my 0 pair. And negative 2r is equal to negative 4. Divide both sides by negative 2. So we get r is equal to 2. Now, we're going to go ahead and check this. So even these problems, even though you have to do this by hand to figure out what r is, you still shouldn't miss it because we can check these answers in our calculator by using set edit. So L1 and L2. So my first point here is R3. Well, I know R is 2, so I'm going to put in 2, 3. My second point is 5, 9, so 5, 9. We're going to go ahead and plug those into stat edit and see if we get that my slope is 2. If it comes out that my slope is 2, then we know we did this problem right. So in my calculator, I'm going to go ahead and clear everything out. Second plus 7, 1, 2. Okay, so I'm going to go stat, edit. Alright, so we're going to copy this in. We have 2, 3, and 5, 9. So my x values were 2 and 5. Okay, my y values are 3 and 9. So stat, calc, 4, enter, 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 enter. And you'll see whatever a is, that's your slope. A is 2, that's my slope. My slope over here, k, is 2. So I know that our answer here is correct. So again, no reason for y'all to miss these problems. Okay, you can check them in your calculator. All right, let's do one more like it. This one we have a fraction for our slope, but we're going to do the exact same thing. So x1, y1, x2, y2. So my slope is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, my slope was 3/4, so 3 divided by 4 is equal to, and I'm going to plug my stuff in now for y2 minus y1. So 1 minus 4 over 7 minus r. Okay, let me go ahead and reduce that. So we still have 3/4. 1 minus 4 is a negative 3. And we have 7 minus r in the denominator. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we are going to do our cross multiplication. So what we end up with, we have 3. Again, don't forget, the piece that has the r has to go in parentheses. So 7 minus r is equal to 4 times negative 3. Distribute my 3. So we have 21 minus 3r is equal to 4 times negative 3 is a negative 12. Now we're going to solve for r, so I'm going to subtract 21 from both sides. Subtract 21 over here. Okay, that's my 0 pair. I have a negative 3r is equal to negative 12 minus 21. You can type that in the calculator if you need to. That will come out to negative 33. And then divide both sides by negative 3. So you divide both sides by negative 3. You'll get r is equal to 11. So again, You're going to have plenty of time for your test, okay? On your test, once you get what R is, plug it back in, put it in set edit, and see if your slope comes out to 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead and make my little table L1 and L2 and put this on your test so whenever I check it, I can see where you're messing up, okay, if you get this wrong. So show me your work. The more work you have, the better I can help you. So instead of R, I have 11, and then we have 4, and my second point is 7, 1, so 7, 1. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my calculator, and I'm going to put this into my stat edit. So again, I'm going to clear this out. Second plus 7, 1, 2. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and go back to my stat edit. In my L1, okay, right here we have 11 and 7. So 11 and 7. And in my L2, whoops, that's over in L3. Let me go back. There we go. In my L2, we have 4 and 1. So I'm going to put in 4 and 1. All right, so stat, calc, 4, and enter, 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 enter. And you'll see my slope right here is 0.75. If you don't know already, 0.75, math, enter, enter, gives you 3/4. And so if you look, 3/4 is my slope, so I know R equals 11 is correct. All right, number 17, it says write an equation for the nth term, the arithmetic sequence, and find the 15th term. So you have -5, -2, 1, and 4. So to write our equation, again, stat edit's going to be your best friend on this test, okay? We're going to go ahead and put this into stat edit. L1 is how many numbers we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. L2 are these numbers, -5, -2, 1, and 4. So let's go ahead and put that into stat edit. So I'm going to go back over to my calculator. Okay, again, I'm going to clear this out. Second plus 7, 1, 2. That way I don't have to worry about any of it. And I'm going to go back to stat edit. L1 are those X values we just wrote down. That's the 4 numbers we have. We have 4 numbers, so 1, 2, 3, 4. L2 are what were those 4 numbers? Well, the first one's -5. The second one is -2. The third one is 1. And the last one is 4. Enter, there we go. Stat, calc, 4. Enter, 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 enter. And once you do that, here's our equation, y equals 3x minus 8. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write down y equals 3x minus 8. So y equals 3x minus 8. Now remember, okay, we have to rewrite this. Instead of y, we put a sub n. Instead of x, we put n. So here is your equation for the nth term. That's not it. It also says find the 15th term. So what we're going to do here, okay, is we are going to plug in the fact that n is equal to 15. So we'll have a sub 15. So that means we're looking at the 15th number in the sequence is equal to 3 times 15 minus 8. Okay, you can type that in the calculator if you need to. Okay, 3 times 15, that's 45 minus 8, and that's just going to give us 37. All right, number 18 says determine which sequence is not arithmetic sequence. So if you look, you're going from -7 to 0, so we added 7 here. 0 to 7, you add 7 here. 7 to 14, you add 7 here. This one is good because it has a common difference. That's your constant rate of change. Okay. This one, on H, you're going 10 to 6, so we're subtracting 4. 6 minus 4 gives us 2. 2 minus 4 is a -2, so this one's good. Common difference is a -4, okay, or you can see that you're subtracting 4. This one, you're going up by a half, so you added a half. A half plus a half is 1. 1 plus a half is 3/2, so again, we're good here, okay, because you have a common difference, your constant rate of change. And the last one, 2 to 4, you add 2. 4 to 8, you add 4. 8 to 16, you add 8. So if you notice, these numbers right here are not the same. That's not a constant rate of change, so this one is not an arithmetic sequence. All right, number 19 says which equation describes the nth term of the arithmetic sequence. You have 7, 10, 13, and 16. Okay, couple of things real quick. If you look at what you're going up by, so you added 3, okay, you added 3, you added 3. I can show you a shortcut right now. If the 3 is not beside the n, that's not your answer. So 3n, 3n, 3n. This one's a -4, so we can at least eliminate one answer. There's two ways you can do this. You can put these into y equals, because remember this is the same thing as y equals 3x plus 4. This is the same thing as y equals 7 plus 3x. This is the same thing as y equals 3x minus 4. So two ways you can do this. You can put this into y equals, check your table, and see if these are the first four numbers. Or, what I like to do, I feel like it's easier and quicker, is put it in set edit. We have four numbers, and those four numbers are 7, 10, 13, and 16. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in set edit. So calculator, clear this out. Second plus 712. Stat edit. We have four numbers, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And those four numbers are 7, 10, 13, and 16. So we're going to go back to stat, go over to calc, go to number 4, enter, 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 and enter. And we get y equals 3x plus 4. So I'm going to write that down, y equals 3x plus 4. So I'll just write over here y equals 3x plus 4. And remember, we have to rewrite that. So a sub n equals 3n plus 4. And if you look to match those up, this one says 3n minus 4. It's not minus, it's a plus, so that's wrong. This one, they must have added 3 and 4 to get 7. Okay, I don't know where that came from. That's wrong. This one, here's your 3n plus 4. So A is our correct answer. All right. Number 20, write an equation in function notation. So that means instead of y equals, we use f of x. Okay, that's what function notation means. For the relation shown at the right. Well, this one is actually fairly easy. If you look at this line, you notice your slope is positive. So whatever coefficient, whatever number is in front of x has to be positive. There's two of them in your multiple choice answers that are not positive. Okay, this first one is -2. That's not positive. And the other one is -1. That's not positive. So now you're down to a 50-50 chance. Okay, and then if you look at your y-intercept, you have a +2 and you have a -2. So if you look on the y-axis where you're at, you are down here at a -2. Okay, so this one says +2. That's wrong. This is the only one that has a -2. So H is your answer. In fact, you even have to look at the slope part, because if you just saw that your y-intercept is a -2, none of these here have a -2. This one doesn't even have a -2. That doesn't have a -2. The only one that did was H. Easy problem. All right, last one. Find the x-intercept of the graph of 3x equals 4 plus y. So remember, x-intercept. That means that you have to figure out what your x is, okay? And your y will always be 0. So this has to be some number. This will be 0. So your y is 0. You can cover that up. You don't need this y. That's going to be 0. So just solve for x. Divide both sides by 3. So you have x equals. Two ways that you'll get this answer, okay? You can type in 4 divided by 3. Divided by 3. And get 1.33333. Or you can have math, enter, enter. And it's 4/3. Okay, so x equals 1.333. Or you can say x equals 4/3. Okay, and again, if you wrote that as an ordered pair, it'd be 1.333. Repeating 0, okay, or 4/3 0. Now, on your EOC, okay, if this were like a griddable, which means there's no multiple choice, they will never give you a decimal like this. It will be something easy like 0.5 or 0.25 or 0.75. It won't be repeating decimal. And so if they ask you like on a griddable, all you would have to do, let's say that you got x was equal to 0.75. You don't, if it's a griddable, you just put 0.75 and bubble the stuff in. Okay, you don't have to write it as an order pair like this if it's a griddable. All right, so that's it for your review.